All right, YouTube, this is Detroit's HPTV. Coming to you out of Detroit, back with another video on this Wednesday morning. And we got to talk about what's going on with these politics. And we really got to talk about these liberals, these black liberals, the black Democrats, and why they have been impotent when it comes to dealing with the problems of the black community. And as I've told you guys before about the black belt theory, about how the black people in this country were under a victim mentality because of what they went through in slavery and Jim Crow. So they were primed for communists and socialists and Islamists to infiltrate their communities and usurp the civil rights movement for their own grievances against America. Now, you have Ilhan Omar. Rashida Tlaib just went on a rant. You have these foreign nationals in the Democratic Party who claim they represent the interests of the constituents of their cities, like Detroit and Minnesota and different places. But these foreign nationals are really acting out of a subversive bag to destroy the United States of America from within. And today is going to get deep because we're going to talk about the architect of these new black liberals, which is Barack Hussein Obama, Barry Soetoro. Now, I know a lot of you still have his pictures on the wall, and you claim he was the first black president, and you almost made him a messianic figure, like the coming of a Messiah, what he did absolutely nothing for you. He was never intended or supposed to do anything for you. His job and his mission was to undermine and subvert the United States. And I know that's hard for you to swallow because you're so deep into identity politics that you always wanted something to be proud of instead of just being proud of yourself and your own heritage. This is why you can see people like Joy Reid, who's from Guyana, and she talks about slavery more than a person who's a direct descendant of slavery. So does Abby Phillips, another African. They are taught to come over here and to emulate us and be among us and learn our gripes, our grievances, our insecurities. And they use it because we identify with them because they're so-called people of color. But they have a whole nother mission and agenda. And I know it's hard for you to believe because you want something to identify with so bad. But this morning, we're going to talk about Barack Obama, Barry Soetoro, the architect of these race politics and race baiting that you see coming from the left. The first clip I have is Minister Farrakhan giving a warning as it relates to Barack Obama. And then my second video is from A Righteous Perspective, my man Wise, who did a somewhat deep dive into Obama. So without further ado, let's get into these clips. It's for fair usage under the 1976 Copyright Act. Look at this message that Minister Farrakhan was saying about Barack Obama.
Look at the rise of Barack. See, before he was elected, he was selected. Was it a suggestion of a group that surrounded him that knew the time and that this man was the right man at the right time, and if we backed him, this man could change the face of America in the world? Sat with Father Flager, I sat with Tavis Smiley, I sat with Brother Jeremiah E. Wright, and I said, you know, I want you to look when a ship is going into space. I said, when it's on the ground there, you hardly ever look at the ship that's carrying the astronauts because the rocket is so big. And when it says ignition, we have liftoff. So what are you looking at? you're looking at the rocket. I said, but the rocket does not go into space with the shuttle. The rocket puts the shuttle in space, then drops back to the Earth. I said, some of us have to recognize what our role is. Our role was to put him in orbit. And we come back to Earth knowing that in 4 years or 8 years, he's coming back too. So don't get bent out of shape because you feel dissed.
Did it not hurt deeply for him to be required to denounce and reject you and the nation of the Islam?
Yes. But you know, Sister Kathy, the bigger picture at that moment was Barack Obama.
Getting elected.
Not Louis Farrakhan. Not Jeremiah E. Wright. Now, when he denounced me, he was forced into that. And I got calls, we're not going to vote for him, and this is terrible what he did. I said, why are you jumping on him? He's a victim. Now, for me, I saw the bigger picture. I told all those that are with me, I said, don't you say one negative thing about what he said or did.
And to this day, people in the black community will not criticize Barack Obama. Barack Obama did nothing for the black community. Barack Obama's whole mission was the rainbow flag, the LGBT community, the investors like Soros. His whole mission was divisive. And that might be a bitter pill for you to take, but look at this clip here. This is from Wise.
Why not target the African American community? Why not?
Now listen, in this clip, they're going to ask Barack Obama, why didn't he do anything for black Americans? Seeing how black Americans were the ones who propelled him into orbit, like Minister Farrakhan said, but it was Oprah that brought him on stage. Oprah Winfrey, friends of Epstein, Weinstein, Soros. And he just took off like a rocket with black people behind him. And he left black people behind and created the very identity politics to have our communities so divided, so racially charged, and so lost in the political affairs of this world. Look at this clip.
Why not target the African American community? Why not say then, this is for you? This is for African Americans. If there was a banking crisis, then you target money for the banks. If there was a national disaster, you target your money for the national for disaster relief.
That's not how America works. We want to give those young people and young Native Americans like them the support they deserve. We have to invest in them and believe in them and love them.
Why not target the African American community? Why not say then, this is for you? This is for African Americans.
That's not how America works.
President Barack Obama has begun new initiatives aimed at helping young American Indians or Native Americans overcome the many challenges they face, from poverty to substance abuse.
Why not target the African American community? Why not say then, this is for you? This is for African Americans.
That's not how America works. And few have been more marginalized and ignored by Washington for as long as Native Americans, our first Americans.
Why not target the African American community? Why not say then, this is for you? This is for African Americans.
That's not how America works.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise. Hey, we got to talk about Obama, man, because I think a lot of people are starting to wake up and realize that this dude was a negative. Are y'all ready to take those pictures down that y'all got put up on your wall at y'all house? Are y'all ready? Y'all ready to do it? I know a lot of y'all still got those daggone pictures, Michelle and Barrack, in y'all house somewhere. I know y'all do. Y'all ready to take them down? I don't know why you had them up in the first daggone place, to be honest with you. But whatever. I got a couple clips to share with you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Let's get into it.
In the history of American power, no foreign enemy ever set foot in the Oval Office, until one did. He didn't wear a turban. He wore a suit. He didn't carry bombs. He carried rhetoric. Barack Hussein Obama, sold to America as the post-racial messiah, but groomed by forces with a very different mission: to soften the West, to kneel before Islam, to hollow out the last superpower from within. Obama's story didn't begin in Chicago. It began in Jakarta. Barack Obama was born in Honolulu in 1961, but from age 6 to 10, he was raised in Jakarta, Indonesia, after his mother married an Indonesian Muslim, Lolo Sotoro. There, he attended local schools under the name Barry Sotoro, studied Islam, and absorbed a worldview far removed from traditional American values, a formative experience that would later shape his globalist ideology and sympathetic stance toward the Muslim world. Then he appeared in college in California. They say Barack Obama transferred to Columbia University in 1981. Political science major, international relations focus. Graduated in 1983, but no one remembers him. No classmates, no professors, no clubs, no student groups, no published writings, not even a roommate. His transcript sealed. Application sealed. Every record, every paper, every grade, vanished or protected. For the future leader of the free world, there's a vacuum. Some say Saudi-linked donors helped place him. Others say intelligence handlers kept him off the radar. One thing is certain: the silence is intentional. Barack Obama's path into Harvard wasn't just merit and magic. His ideological father figure, Frank Marshall Davis, a communist, race war theorist, and FBI target. Declassified files named Davis a potential Soviet agent. Obama never mentioned his name in his book, Dreams from My Father. But the fingerprints are there. Then came Jeremiah Wright, Bill Ayers, and Harvard, where victimhood became power. Obama's worldview was never liberal. It was reversalist. Good became evil. Freedom became oppression. Islam became the victim. America wasn't something to lead. It was something to unmake. When Obama appeared in politics, he also seemed to emerge from nowhere, like in his college years. A little-known junior senator with no real accomplishments, yet suddenly vaulted to global stardom. His rise was rapid, orchestrated, and curiously unchallenged, as if someone needed him exactly where he ended up. Let's look at his inner circle. Several figures close to Obama had documented associations with Islamist organizations or regimes and paved his way, starting with the Egypt regime overthrow. In June 2009, Obama went to Cairo and demanded the Muslim Brotherhood be seated front row. Critics point to multiple MB-affiliated individuals in or advising the Obama administration that had a deep take and input on the Egypt policy. An Egyptian magazine's investigation, later reported by the Investigative Project on Terrorism, claimed 6 American Islamists in Obama's orbit were Brotherhood operatives, helping shift U.S. policy from hostility to support for MB. Among those named were Arif Ali Khan, co-founder of an Islamic group called a Brotherhood Subsidiary; Mohammed Alibiari, who praised MB ideologue Saeed Qutb and allegedly leaked sensitive documents. Alibiari was said to have helped shape Obama's 2011 speech urging Egypt's Hosni Mubarak to step down. Rashad Hussain, who had maintained close ties with U.S. Muslim Brotherhood networks. Salam al-Marayati, the president of MPAC. Imam Mohammed Magid, president of ESNA, an MB-founded group. Ibu Patel reported to have connections with MB-founded Muslim Student Association and Islamist ideologues. These individuals enjoyed access to high levels of government, visiting the White House regularly and advising on policy. While the administration rejected the notion that they were operatives, the preponderance of MB-linked figures in advisory roles was unprecedented and in line with MB's stated goal of influencing U.S. institutions. Obama's Cairo speech glorified Islam and subtly legitimized its most dangerous revivalist group, the Muslim Brotherhood.
Wow. How many of you guys knew this? Huh? How many of you guys knew it? So many people fell for the hope and change, man. So many people fell for the hope and change. And to be honest with you, man, I said this a long time ago on the channel, but President Barack Obama's presidency set this country back probably 30 years. He did.
Booklet, they included a biography of all of their clients. And this is the biography that they included of Barack Obama. Okay, take a look here. It says, this is real, 100% real. Barack Obama, the first African-American president of the Harvard Law Review, was born in Kenya and raised in Indonesia and Hawaii. The son of an American anthropologist and a Kenyan finance minister, he attended Columbia University and worked as a financial journalist and editor for Business International Corporation. Blah, 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 okay? So the whole concept of, like I said, that's 100% legit. The whole concept of whether or not he was born in Kenya was not coming out of racist ideas, right? It wasn't because people were just trying to delegitimize him. It was because he had a literary agent, and that literary agent published a pamphlet, and that pamphlet said that he was born in Kenya. And then suddenly that changed, and they were like, no, never mind. He was born in the USA. That person who published this never gave an answer for why they wrote that. They tried to say like, oh, like that maybe the literary agency just wrote that. Why would anybody just write that you're born in Kenya? It's like a weird thing to write. Okay, doesn't matter in the scheme of things. He was already president for 8 years, but it's good to go back on that.
So many questions about this guy, man. And I know some of you guys are going to get out there and say, hey, they're only asking these questions. They're only going after him because he's black. Half black, that is. But nah, there is entirely too much evidence, man. Where there's smoke, there is fire. A lot of questions. A lot of question marks about this guy. Now look at this. One, I don't know what this is. I don't know what the secret sparkly, but definitely looks like some Satan stuff, to be honest with you. And whoever receives this said, hey, is this Obama? People keep sending it to me. I mean, I just can't. I can see it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? What the heck is going on here, man?
Hey, you guys, I'm going to do a real quick video. This is going to be another one of those, but I wanted to finish up on the money changers. I wanted to talk to you about the Department of Energy. When they said that Barack Obama was going to be in trouble for what he did, and we all knew he was doing it, I thought to myself, well, they're just building everything up. They're holding on to that Epstein case. They're going to hit him with everything. One of the things that people aren't aware of is the Department of Energy. The Department of Energy, and if I bring a few things up to you, you're going to recall it and you're going to go, oh my God, that's right. So the Department of Energy was one of the departments that probably had the most money laundering. I don't have any evidence on it. It's just that I follow, the spending and the budgets, and I see where money's going. So under Barack Obama, I believe it was $446 billion that was sent out to all these companies. Do you remember that? Do you remember when they had all of, it was the big scare, we've got to have the solars, and we've got to have the panels, and we've got to have this, and we've got to have that, and we've got to save the planet and all that. It started under Barack Obama. Anyhow, it was called the American Recovery and Reinvestment Acts. It was in 2015. I certainly remember because all those money that got billions and billions and millions of dollars, they all went bankrupt and nobody was held accountable for that money. And I said right then and there, it was a money laundering scheme. Barack Obama was saying, well, they're new companies and this is new and you can't expect every company. Well, you know what? Then you shouldn't have gave them that money. But I did go back and I looked up all of those companies, and I think that I counted all together that I found was like 18 of them, and 14 of them were foreign countries, and I think I could positively identify 11 of those countries were, I don't know how to say it, they weren't Christians that owned the company, and they weren't Jewish people either. That's all I'm going to say. So I followed that trail. Now, if I can do this, and I'm just a citizen who pays taxes and pays attention, I'm also a Christian. I biblically look at everything through the biblical eye. So I started looking into it. Barack Hussein Obama was that name alone. That name alone tells me that they weren't for the best interest of America, and he tried to destroy it from within. Department of Energy was a good way to funnel money, and now everybody bought into the Green New Scam, and it's a hoax. Trump's called it a hoax. We know it was a hoax. So Obama did this and started at billions of dollars, was wasted and spent. And then Trump came into office. It was kind of cut back, scaled back. It was cut back a lot. And then we had the puppet come in here, Biden. Now, Biden's Department of Energy sent out $93 billion in 76 days. What 76 days did he send it out in? From the day that Trump was elected in November until January of this year, January 20th, when Trump took over the office. $93 billion out the window. to these companies. And these companies don't have a business plan. They didn't have to provide nothing. All you do is like make a name and, I don't know, get a doing business as number, and then you're just having money sent to you. This is all going to be investigated because it's been money laundering. You look at Burisma. You remember what happened when the Bidens were under investigation. The Bidens' whole family was under investigation with Ukraine and Burisma. So this has been going on for quite a while. The Burisma was bringing attention, remember? And they were looking at these shell companies. And then you had, Biden bragging about having one of the prosecutors, terminated from his job. And then his son was on the... It's not over. People think that they gave up. No, they didn't. It's just like the Epstein files. They put it on the shelf because they're going to clump it all together and they're going to hit them hard because the cabal is involved with all of it. Epstein, they're involved with this money laundering that they've been using the Green New scam to do it under. And Burisma, all of that. Listen, some of those pardons are going to be good, but it isn't going to cover everybody. And the cabal is going down. The other thing I wanted to tell you about in New York State, so I'm talking to New Yorkers, right? In New York State, we have Kathy Hochul, who took down and closed down one of our nuclear power plants. Now, here it is 2 years later. It's coming up on election. She knows she's failing because we're all struggling paying utilities. I know I am. And they cannot put up the new housing that they want to put up, which is government subsidized housing or low-income housing, because in the local areas that they're trying to build these housing projects at, they can't build them because the electric grid would not support them. So they're being denied building low-income housing because the electric grid is not going to support these housing. And we need housing, right? So you can't build if you don't have electricity to support the housing. Now she's talking about opening up another, get this, nuclear power plant. So she closed one, and she's going to open another one. Why did she close that one? Why did she close that one? And now she wants to open another one. She closed that one because she didn't have her foot in the door. But if she's going to open another one, that's just another place to start money laundering at under the guise of nuclear power. So there's other stuff. It's called renewable energy. And I will be doing a video on that, and I'll be able to come up with receipts. This is another scam on New Yorkers, which is going to be another big money laundering. You close down one nuclear power plant to later on open up another one and make investments. Billions is going to be taken from the taxpayer money. Billions is going to be taken from us. It's just going to be another money laundering scheme. Obama did it. Newsom's doing it. I will tell you about Newsom in New York, how they're connected in my next video, and I can't wait to get it out. I just hope God frees up my time so I can get to these plants and get to talk to the people. Newsom's doing it in California. These people are becoming rich. It's just kind of like Letitia James getting $10 million for her personal legal fees, going to a law firm by the name of Dave Polk, and Kathy Hochul's husband all of a sudden just started working there. It's money laundering, and we are the victims of it, so we have to wake up and pay attention. The other thing I wanted to say was, if you don't mind me saying, I am a conservative Christian. I always put stuff into biblical perspective is how I see stuff, and I listen to Christian news and Christian broadcasting, but I try to put it into a worldly, because not everybody reads the Bible. But I wanted to mention to you about the money changers. There was a while ago I did a video, and I said that God was going to come after the money changers. Kathy Hochul's a money changer. She's another one that's coming in to destroy this country and destroy our state. I'm sorry. And so I was going to speak to the conservatives. The conservative people, your voice is so important, but not always, especially in New York, do we get a conservative choice to vote for. So a lot of the conservatives has been registering as Republicans because it's usually two Republicans if there's going to be a primary, but not two conservatives. So you can always vote who you want to in the election, but when it comes to the primaries, the conservatives cannot vote in the primary of the Republicans, and sometimes that's the only choice you're going to get. So I want to encourage you to look around. If you don't have a conservative running and you want to have a voice, which we need your voice in the primaries, please register as a Republican so that you can vote.
I'm going to stop here. Shout out to Wise. Now, do you think it's by coincidence that Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic Socialist, the Islamic Socialist, Talida Rashid in Congress, Ilhan Omar Fatah, all these people who are Islamists, who hate America, are in a Democratic Party? in key states, while the country is more divided than it's ever been. Barack Obama was the architect of what you're seeing now. And the loyalty that black people have to him, even though he did nothing for them, is the main reason that they can't see the truth right now. Barack Obama even came out and tried to chastise black men about voting for Kamala Harris. You remember that? He stayed behind the scenes as the puppet master for Joe Biden. It's time to break the chains that the Democratic plantation has on you that tethers you to them while they seek to undermine everything in this country for power and money and greed. Think about what you've heard. And this is Detroit's HPTV, sounding to you out of Detroit. Keep your head on a swivel. And as always, salute to all patriots. Peace.